Okay, hey, this is Alex from Firecracker Farm. I'm gonna do an experiment. Inside the shade house behind me, you've got really healthy reapers, ghosts, and Trinidad Scorpion plants that have always had good soil, always had proper irrigation, and really well aerated pots. So they're in cloth bags. And I've got these alternative air pots that look like this. They come in sheets. And they roll up. You've got a base that you sort of attach, and I'm going to put them together, and I'm going to take some plants that are less successful. These guys, I'm lovingly referring to them as the lepers because I don't know, they just look sick. And they had some pretty lousy soil that I attempted to concoct just with the local soil. I mixed in a little bit of perlite, and you can see that there's a lot of weeds, and these are dry, they've been neglected. These plants are over a year old and they're just not doing very well. My plan here is to prune them all down to almost nothing, and then I'm going to put them in air pots with good soil and give them a little root ruckus, some CalMag, and water, and then come back in a few weeks and see how they're doing. So I'll pause this now, and then I'm gonna resume when I start the pruning, just to show you how far I take it down. I'm going to do a little bit of, I'm going to wash the soil off the roots. So the root ball is going to be completely exposed, and then I'm going to gently fill it in. So we'll see if that traumatizes the plant or not. I've had success doing that before. These little guys are ghosts that were kind of stunted. They don't look great, right? So this is not what you want. Just for contrast, hold on, I'm going to show you what healthy ones look like and what a big difference the soil and container make. So these guys are all pretty healthy. You can see it green, looking good. So this is what I wanted to show you. These guys, these are if I remember correctly, these are ghosts, and they all germinated at the same time. Everything is the same between these here, which you see, they're small, same plants, but moved on to a larger container a little earlier on. In here, this group, same set, moved to yet larger containers earlier. So around the time that these guys moved to this container, I also moved these guys to these containers. And the soil in here is a mix of pine, mulch, there's some peat moss, some perlite, and a little bit of fertilizer. This is HP Pro Mix with nothing, as is this. So you can see the combination of the bigger pot and the more diverse soil seems to really be doing it. It drains really quickly. This Pro Mix HP, despite high porosity, retains more moisture than the other. I don't know why this just dries really quickly. It's great. So we'll see. I mean, this is another experiment. I just wanted to see how far you can go in a really small bag like this. You can see the roots popping out. Not great. So again, the main experiment is to take some really distressed plants and give them the good stuff, like what I deem is probably the best combination, and see what happens. I think they're going to probably flourish. We'll see. Again, this stuff is expensive, so I mean, you used to be able to get it in bulk, but lately you can't really easily find it inexpensively. So the unit cost on these, it's like a couple bucks when you buy in bulk, but it's still more than I want to pay. It's actually more like $5 or $6, so it's too much, I think, versus like a cloth pot that does approximately the same thing. These do a little bit better. We'll see. Okay, so we're gonna jump into it. This is a Carolina Reaper that is over a year old, overwintered just fine. It is in really lousy soil, and it's dry as a bone. It's been neglected, and this is, for the sake of experimentation, we're gonna see if we can revive it. I'm gonna assemble this air pot, which basically you roll this in, you roll that in, and you secure it with these little, you can tighten by hand. You poke it through the holes on the side, and then that's it. The soil I'm using, again, it's a local nursery gets this manufactured and they sell it, and essentially it's a blend of peat moss, peat, pine bark, cypress sawdust, and dolomite lime. So essentially different evergreen barks, peat moss, and a little bit of lime. They also add fertilizer. They're not describe it, but I think it's like a pretty generic 555 or something like that, or I'm not actually certain, I should ask, but it's minimal. And what I'll do is saturate the soil a little bit with some root ruckus, which is a pretty cool product that promotes microbial stuff and little friendly fungus that will help the roots really move on. Let me see if I can find that. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm not a video guy yet, at least not on my own behalf. This right here is the root ruckus. So I've had success with it. I don't really know if it's better or worse than other things, but I don't think it can hurt. A teaspoon per gallon or so should do it, and that's it. So I'm stopping again to get to the next piece. Well, here's what this looks like put together. You know, just hand tighten these little screws through the holes. You can see the holes, right? So that is how it works. And I'm just going to fill this up a bit, just really loosely in here, because I'm going to try to shake it around the roots, because they're going to be you know, exposed after I take it out of the other pot and drench the roots. So I'm going to mix up this cow mag and root ruckus. What's going on here? Let's try it. There we go. I'll make a bunch. Probably about 5 gallons or so. So I'll do a bunch of these transplants. All right, well, I popped this guy out of his bucket, and you know, looks like there's a lot of root in here, and surprisingly dense and not so coiled, which is cool. I mean, this thing is like a brick. There's no way this plant is happy. That's rock hard. So I don't know how it's gonna like this, but I'm gonna pick off all these little pesky hitchhikery, whatever these things are, joined in, uninvited guests, let's call them. And I'll kind of loosen it up a bit, see what can come out. Then I'm gonna just wash it. And it may or may not like that, but I think it's gonna be better than what it's been getting. So here goes. I'm gonna use a shower setting. Hopefully that won't be too aggressive. And then I'll move them into really nice dirt. Hopefully you'll love it. Let's see. New dirt. Like, I guess that's furniture and food. And new digs, new place to live. Let's see. Shade house action. It's gonna be great. You're gonna love it. Don't mind that I'll be amputating a bunch of your limbs. They'll grow back better. I hope. We will find out. Oh, pause. I don't have to watch the whole. Well, it's not working the way I'd hoped it would work. Unfortunately, the root ball is super tight. It's not coming out. I'm using the hose. It's not going quickly. So I'm just gonna try an alternate method here. And maybe I can just have better luck submerged. Shout out to my kids for making me rainbow loon bracelets. What's up? Anyway, let's see how this goes. Wow. Living the dream, man. It's the first bath you've ever had. I'm not crazy. They just, you know, I've read Talking to Your Plants. They like it, so we'll see. This guy has clearly not been talked to. Nobody listens. Feels alone. Oh man, this is kind of messy. Phone. I need an assistant. Come on. So chunky. A little bit better maybe though. Oh yeah, we're seeing more action and less dirt. And by action, I mean roots. So the objective is for me to get these roots in contact with the new, yummy, nutritious soil so that it can start to rebuild. I was debating whether or not I should just start the trimming process right away and prune this plant like down to nothing, or if I should give it a chance to settle in first. I'm guessing it's got a lot of energy stored up in the roots, a lot of capability, and the will to live, and we're gonna find out. All right, so it turns out that the bath approach is the kindler, gentler way to drown your plant. I'm gonna take the little guy over here, past the dirt. We've got the bucket partially set up here, I mean the air pot. And I've got a bucket with CalMag, and the other solution, I'm gonna just blend those together. And we're gonna do this. I'm gonna get it a little head start of the good stuff there. I know that's full of nutrients. And then I'm gonna start sprinkling dirt around these roots. I should have thought about a tripod because I need 2 hands. Okay, as you can see, I've wedged it all together. I got a chair that I'm using to prop up the phone. Let's see what we can do here. All right, gonna put it underneath. I'm kind of like feeding it in. Gonna massage the dirt into the roots. Kind of make sure that some gets in to the spots there. Collected. I should say inside. Think of like trying to stuff a broom with dirt. That's what it feels like, or a mop. The inner parts are harder to get at without disturbing the outer ones too much. So I'm gonna just try to effective. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. I don't want it to be too deep because I know that getting too high up on the stem won't be necessarily the best thing for it. So I'm picking it up. Each time I pick it up, I'm hoping some of the dirt is filling in the cracks. That said, this is pretty clumpy and wet, so I don't know how well it'll permeate and get into those little spaces between the strands of root. But we can hope. It feels all right. Totally unstable, so this has got to be a little unnerving for the plant, I'm guessing. Plants have some sort of sense of whether or not they're stable. This guy probably knows he's not. I think I'm going to probably stake this with a piece of bamboo or something to help it not fall over while it reestablishes its roots. Now this is not great to have those covered, so I'll rinse this off, and I'm just going to drop it down a little bit so that it settles in. Drop. It's amazing what gravity will do for you. Just sort of filling in the cracks. It's feeling more stable already. Yeah. These guys are pretty well beat up. Yeah, and this is an experiment, so the overall success to be determined. I'm feeling okay about the overall approach. And then I'm going to start the pruning. Well, my great-grandfather was a barber, and my grandfather had a green thumb, and my father had a green thumb, so I'm hoping that together it'll work out. Okay, so I don't know if I want to do this, but I'm gonna. This branch is really long and gangly. It goes all the way up. It has all kinds of issues. It's green. This guy looks pretty good. So I'm going to start by really just lopping off after these nodes here. Oh my, you don't want to go. I'm sorry. I'll try to cut at an angle. Okay, there's one. Sorry. I think I'll do here. This looks like it had whitefly. okay? There's really not gonna be much left of this plant when I'm done. This looks like it could go. All right, this guy here, I'm gonna trim it. Here and here. We are left with very little. We could place bets as to where it'll grow and what it'll do. I mean, this guy's gonna have a head start up here. Let's see, maybe these will go. Maybe something will happen here. These shoots, I took these out because they're underground. I don't want the thing to get infected. And some work going on, so I have background noise. I'm gonna give it a cup of that yummy fertilized water. You know, it's got CalMag in it. And then just like I'm just gonna dump it in, and then that'll be that. I'll do the others, and I'll set them up on the blocks in here. The back there, you can see. Well, you can't because it's focusing on the screen. Sorry. There are some blocks. There's a row of blocks. I'll show you when it's done. They'll be all lined up on there, and they'll all look like this. So, or something like that. And then we'll keep track. I'm gonna probably make this in 2 parts because I'm too impatient and can't wait for months to post this. I thought I had enough footage, but this guy is my all-time best producer in the past. It's a ghost. It will not stop. No matter what I do, I cut it down. It keeps coming back. It keeps flowering. It keeps fruiting. It's all crazy. I'm gonna call him Fozzie Bear. It looks like Fozzie to me. I don't know, it's like super fluffy, root ball, awesome. I didn't have to do anything to this one, just shook it. So it's gonna be shocking what I'm gonna do to this plant. I'm gonna cut it, all the major stalks, and everything. Basically everything you see is gonna get cut off. And I am betting it'll come back. I had boxwoods. I lived in New York, and we cut them down to nothing, to basically the stump. A year later, they were huge bushes again. So if the root ball is tough like I think it is, Fozzie's gonna come back. Waka waka. This is Fozzie, sacrificed for science. We're gonna keep Fozzie's peppers and enjoy those, make them into some salt, and we will keep the seeds, plant more Fozzies. Here's Fozzie, post trim, not cleaned up yet. I'm gonna rinse the guy off. So, oh boy, what a mess. String in here. Get Fozzie cleaned up. I'm gonna pinch this. I don't want any flowering happening here. I'm gonna have to focus on growing, not on reproducing. First things first, Fozzie. So I'll leave a little bit of leaf action just so it doesn't completely die. But I think we'll come back from this. I really do, because Fozzie was in really lousy shape at one point, and I did a little trim, a little feed, and lo and behold, popped right back up. So I think with the roots the size that they were, and you know, the resiliency of this plant is just pretty striking. So I'm hoping that in a little while we'll see by a little while I mean a few weeks, we'll see some proof of life and new shoots, and then in a couple months we'll have a plant that's ready to rock. We'll see. All right, thanks for watching. We'll be back in a bit. It doesn't really get much more pathetic than this, right? I mean, these guys look pretty beat. This one dried out on the verge of death, cut down to nothing. Also, same thing, very little left. Yellow leaves, not very many. Pretty bleak. Let's see if we can get it to go from that to fluffy, happy, all the way over there. So we'll see. This will be filling in over time, but this experiment's going to be isolated over here just for the sake of, I don't know, visual separation. Let's see what happens.